Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing well. So allergy season starts first things first, but I wanted to talk today about a few things regarding HR and how to ask a bunch of things. How to ask for a raise, how to ask for a job change, how to ask for to be reviewed, to have your CV reviewed or things like that. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I realized there's a lot of things that need to be said that I thought were common sense, but then I realized that common sense is not common at all. And then I wanted to talk about the most important thing is how to answer certain questions, how to answer certain situations. So first question that I get a lot asked a lot is, I want to get a raise, so I'm just gonna go ask my manager to give me a raise. Hell no. Hell to the no. Do not do that. Okay, for you to ask a raise, you need to provide proof that you deserve the raise. How do I do that? Well, you start by saying, this is the achievements that I have done according to the performances that I have done. This is what I've been doing so far, and because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and because this is how much I have either saved the company or I have brought profit to the company, I believe that a raise would be sufficient. You have to talk in a business sense. It's not about a humanitarian sense of being like, well, the living expenses are higher. No shit, everyone knows that. And I do apologize about my language, but it's kind of how it is. Everyone knows that the expenses have been raised. Everyone understands that life has been more expensive. We get that, okay? But to the owner of a company, to an owner of an institution, yes, even if they have a little bit of humanity in them, and even if they are human, and even if they have humanity in them, and even if they are humane, they still, at the end of the day, a business is a business. A business in the end cares about the bottom line. So if you can prove that by raising your salary, that bottom line is going to be affected positively, you'll get the raise. Even if you don't get exactly what you want, but you will have a positive impression on the person, because you're not talking in terms of I deserve this. You're just being like, hey, this is a business thing. I understand that this is a business, and therefore I am talking to you in the same language that you will understand, and that is, it is a business. So that is one thing you need to do when it comes to raise. You have to understand this one. Let's say that you want to do counter offer. You got an offer for a X amount of money, and you think that counter offer, you want to do a counter offer. You just, again, based on my CV, based on my experiences, based on how much I can save you or how much I can bring you revenue, I think my salary could be adjusted. Do not say the following: I deserve this salary raise. Living expenses are getting higher, so I need a salary raise. No, I think if you don't give me a salary raise, I will leave the company. You know what's going to be told you? Go ahead and leave. Even if you're a good employee, even if you're a great employee, and even if you're a lot of revenue, if you try to use the form of, it will be taken as a threat. That you are threatening them, that if you don't get the raise that you quote unquote deserve to get, then you will not be with them, and nobody wants a person like that. So that is when it comes to raise and asking for a raise. That's the first thing. Now let's talk about the next thing. The next thing is what happens if I want to adjust my salary. Now, adjusting salary is a little bit different than raising salary. When you talk about raising salary, you're talking about increasing it at a higher level than the annual level. That's when you're talking about a raise. You're normally looking at an increase of more than 10%. That's a raise. Okay, so you think that it's literally between 20 and 30%, 20 to 30% is when we consider quote unquote a raise. Now let's say you want to do 100%. You want to double your salary now. You don't want to just. So this is then goes into the form of a quote unquote salary adjustment. This one normally comes in with title adjustments. So let's say you got a promotion. First of all, congratulations for the promotion. Now you're negotiating the salary for that new title. And because again, new title equals to new salary and new responsibilities, new everything. So how do you negotiate that? How do you do the adjustment to make it quote unquote fair for yourself? A few things you need to do. Again, what can you provide with this new title? They already acknowledge that you will provide that you are worthy of that title, and they already acknowledge that you are a addition to that title. So great for you. But again, do I talk again about my achievements? Yes, but you're gonna add a few things else by increasing your responsibilities and increasing your title and increasing your job requirements or job responsibilities. You have incurred more information, more knowledge, more experience, and therefore you require an adjustment. And your adjustment should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you're doing the adjustment, you have to calculate your living expenses. If I am to live in the same level that I'm currently living in or better, what do I need? How much do I need? Or how much do I need to increase? Okay, so that's for the salary adjustment. Now, let's go for one of the ones that really, this is my pet peeve now. The following: somebody's asking for a job, and it's just the way they ask for a job. One of my pet peeves is what I like to call the pleading type. Now, before you come in with the torches and the torches and pitchforks, hear me out. Nobody, and I mean by that, nobody really cares about what you go through, especially strangers. They don't care about what you go through. You're going through a hard time, and they don't care. Okay, they don't see it as, oh my god, I'm this person, poor guy. Like most of them, they're gonna say, poor guy, poor person. This person is going to be. This person is having it hard. Your best case scenario is you're gonna fall into a kind person, and that kind person is gonna try and help you. What's normally gonna happen is you're gonna fall prey to the sharks. And by the sharks, I mean even in every industry, there are sharks in every industry. They're basically, what they do is they wait until somebody is extremely desperate, extremely on the edge, is going to be, they're like writing down that they're gonna die and they're gonna commit, like they're gonna unalive themselves and yada 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 yada. And what they do is they swoop in and be the damsel, like they rescue the damsel in distress, whether that damsel is a guy or a girl, they don't care. And they move in a way of like, I'll get all your expertise with the cheapest price I can get. Because again, you're desperate. So you're gonna take whatever, you're gonna bite into whatever it is that I'm gonna offer you, and that's about it. Now, there are two types of people who do desperate things. There are those who are truly desperate, and then there are those who are like, they will talk about how desperate they are and how they're like looking for jobs and they can't find a job, yada 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 yada. And when somebody reaches out and be like, hey, I'm here to help you, I would like to help you, they will start doing demands. And both cases are my pet peeve. Both cases. This one is because one of them is just reeks of desperation, and the reeking of desperation allows people who are not so nice to actually take advantage of you, which I hate. And the second one is like, dude, beggars can't be choosers. I mean, I get it. You want to be you think that you're a chooser, like you think that because you're desperate, but at the same time, and you're begging and you're doing everything, but yet you're asking for demands that are way overboard. I'll give you an example of that. I'll give you an example of the second type, because that actually, I met that kind. One of the older jobs that I had, and this person was writing on LinkedIn about how they're about to die, their everything is ruined, their marriage is ruined, their life is ruined, and yada 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 yada, which is kind of how most of them talk. And again, like I said, it is a pet peeve of mine. So anyways, and they talked about their CV, so I was like, you know what, I can at least do that. So I go in there, and I'm like, hey, I got your post, and I understood that you're having this one, so let me help you. What are you looking for? And that person was like, okay, I'm looking for a specific job of an industry. It was in the tech industry. And I was like, okay, what are you looking exactly in the tech industry, so I can be able to help him with his CV. So anyways, he starts talking, and then he goes like this. He's like, oh, and I'm like, okay, so good, that's good. So we finished, so we started talking, and then I'm like, okay, so what's your expected salary? Now, mind you, this was about 3 years ago, and said person was like 20K. Now, said person asking for 20K and doesn't have the experience to get that 20K. There is no way, even if I were to quote unquote like fabricate some stuff, there is no way I can get the 20K. It has to be the experience that you need to for the 20K was way different than what his experience was. And for just an example of like a metaphor, is like, basically he's starting to learn how to cook, and he wants to take the salary of a Michelin chef. That's basically the situation. Anyway, so you can't do that, we can't do that, and I was like, that's just unattainable. And my nature is I'm very blunt. Like, if I think that it's unattainable, I will let you know bluntly it is unattainable. So I'm like, it's unattainable. And this person was like, well, I know my worth. No, like in my head I was like, no dude, you don't know your worth. You're blowing up your worth. No wonder nobody wants to hire you, because he was talking about how he got offered 3 different types of job. One of them gave him like a salary that was, in my opinion, very generous for his lack of experience, very generous of the person. And this guy answers that person with, oh, I refuse this one. If you can't give me the 20K, then you just go, you're wasting my time. And I'm sitting there like, dude, seriously, can you be like that? Can you be that arrogant of thinking that you deserve? Okay, I get it, you think that you deserve it. Yeah, if you have the knowledge to back it up with the knowledge that you have, but you have neither the knowledge nor the experience, nothing to back it up. And then and then I was like, okay, fine. And he goes like, well, you're trying to help, but you're not helping, and you're not doing this. Like, dude, no, it's not about that. You need a reality check. And you're not getting that reality check unless you, and then like literally within like 3 days, that same person was posting about how nobody helps him and nobody's trying to help him and everyone is being like that. And I'm sitting going like, bullshit. It's not that nobody's helping, it's that you are the problem, not the other person. And that's the one thing that I have. You have to be very, very careful. Yes, I'm a huge advocate of know your worth. A huge advocate. On the contrary, I think you need to know your worth. You need to do your research, and you need to be able to know exactly, due to these experiences, I am worth this much. It is, you know what? It is very okay. It is very okay, and it's actually encouraged. If you have a problem and you don't know what your worth is, to have a neutral person. Okay, I'm not talking about your friend. I'm not talking about and like your friend or the HR that you're applying to. No, I'll just pick an HR from a different place. Okay, from a different place from where you want to go. Be like, hey, look at the CV. Tell me what you think the worth is of a CV like that for this particular job that you're looking for. And most of the time, a neutral HR will give you like close to what they will offer to that person. Like, I will offer that person this much. I will offer that person this amount, and it is practically fine. On the contrary, it's encouraged to do that. I actually had a person who asked me, they're like, I am going to work as this job, and I wanted to know how much should I get as a worth. And I was like, can I see your experience? And she showed me the experience, and I was like, well, you need to take about this much. That's what you need to look. And she goes like, she's like, this is how much I'm getting right now. And I'm like, you're getting less than your worth. I was very honest with her, very blunt with her, and I was like, you're getting less than your worth. And this is how much you're worth for that experience that you have. And that's it. And she was like, okay, fine, I'll negotiate that next time. I'm like, and here's how you negotiate that if you want to. And she didn't mind it. She was actually okay with that. Again, I have no problem whatsoever. If you think that you want to know, if you're not in the same place that I work in, and you want to know what your worth is, I'm more than happy to give it to you. I'm more than happy to tell you, this is what I think you should get. Okay. Now, if you're working in the same place, what I do is I know the salary scales for the area that I'm in, at least in my head. So I will like negotiate with you on the salary scale that I have. And I have to be very transparent with that area. Anyway, so that's basically the second thing. Now the final one. The final thing I want to talk about, and this is going to be a longer rant. Now, if you want to stop by now, go for a little bit, or put this one on the background, I have no problem. You can. I also encourage people to put this on the background, like, and just listen to me talking, because I really don't do anything. But how do you deal with Debbie Downers? Now, Debbie Downers are religious fundamentalists, and I'm talking about both of them because they're the same in the way they act. So let's talk about. I'm not gonna call out the company, but there's a specific company that I know of, and very familiar of the company, that refuses. And by refuses, I mean it refuses. No matter how qualified the person is, it refuses to hire females or clean-shaven men. It is like the entire company is nothing but like bearded men, and they have to be a specific type of religion and a specific type of fundamentalism in order to get into that company, okay? And the company pays well. Like, it's one of the bigger companies that pay well. And the company itself, like, their CEO virtue signals so many times. It's mind-boggling because of the hypocrisy there is. And I'm gonna say there is a hypocrisy because I'm gonna show you how you handle type of people like that, and why is it hypocritical. Because this dude like takes the cake. Now, if you're familiar with the company that if you kind of have already a kind of a plan of what company I'm talking about, good for you. If you don't, and if you know who I'm talking about, then again, good for you for knowing that. Like I said, I am not going to say names. I'm not going to say like what the company name is. I'm not going to say who their founder and co-founder and like the other person is, the three people there, because I'm going to show you what the hypocrisy there is. So this person, his entire posting on any social media is all about how his specific Abrahamic religion is the best, and how people should be all about the religion, all about this one, and all about how they should be virtue. He's like virtual signaling left and right. He talks about, like, one of his most controversial posts was actually about hijab. How the modern day hijab is not a hijab at all, and the girls who are wearing the hijab are not even females wearing. They're not correct Muslims, and they're like they're just and just like a very, 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 very misogynistic point of view of like how the modern day has become a cesspool of hedonistic natures, hedonistic things, and it's bad because females are now trying to get the job, because your job as a female should be motherhood. That is all you gotta do, because it's a guy's job. And because he believes so much in a guy's job, and he believes that men should get jobs, so he only hires men, and he only hires men who are of his religion. I am going to try and I'm going to apologize in advance if I start getting very angry, because let's break down this entire thing and just turn it over its head. Now, one, you saying that a specific gender, I don't give a F about what gender you talk about, okay? I don't care if you're gonna tell me, if this was like turned around and it was like an all females thing, and the only thing they're gonna do is they're gonna do females because we are women and we need to take care of ourselves and we need to be there for each other, and men are horrible human beings and insects that do not deserve to be there. Because, by the way, I've heard that argument again. Those two cases are the same for me. They're both equally bad, and for different reasons, and they're both equally hypocritical. Because it's the entire mentality of us versus them, which has shown, and like history has shown, mythology has shown, laws has shown, research has shown, even Abrahamic religion has shown that the whole mentality of us versus them is not only stupid, is not only idiotic, but it's the very basis of division and the very basis of wars. This is basically how wars start. It's us versus them, and us with our belief system and our values and our systems are much better than them because we are the right people. And it reaches to some points where, like, for specific religions, they're like, our God is the rightful God, and yada 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 yada. Which, again, as a Muslim, I believe that Allah is like righteous. I believe that Allah is the all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipotent, knows everything, reads everything, understands everything, has everything, written everything. This is what I believe in, okay? But it's not my job to preach it, and it's not my job to shove it into another person's throat. Okay? I show my religion through my actions. I show my religion, and this is basically why it's hypocritical, because this is exactly what this person is doing. This person is talking about how it's virtue, and how Allah has helped him a lot, and how Allah has shown him the way, yada 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 yada. But at the same time, he keeps bragging about his company. Dude, if you want to be modest, and if you want to be humble, which is actually what our religion is very much about, is about being humble, it's about being modest, it's about being down to earth. You do not brag about your company. You do not brag about every single time you write about how you're virtuous and how you're the best person ever and how the greatest thing ever, and then you talk about how much your company has gained money, how much company has gained followers, how much, and then the same sentence, at the same sentence, you're like, it's not about the followers or the money, it's all about Allah. And I'm like sitting going like, no dude, no. That's not what you're writing. That's not what you're talking. This is what you're talking. You're basically bragging about how you're so virtuous and so righteous and so everything that, in your own words, Allah gave you this massive amount of money, massive amount of help, massive amount of followers, just so that you can spread his message. That's not the case. And the problem is, if you've noticed who your people are, I feel sorry for them. I honestly feel sorry for them, because they're the very definition of sheep. Now, if you want to talk about follower point of view, they're basically following without understanding. They think that the conversation is, because they think that being that righteous and being that quote-unquote righteous, if I act like this person is, I'm going to be exactly like that person is, and I'm going to be exactly like him, and I'm going to be righteous, and I'm going to go to heaven. Dude, let me tell you something very, 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 very bluntly, and I do apologize for my bluntness, but that ain't the case. See, being righteous and being right are two different things. Being virtuous and being right is two different things. You know what it is to be right is to do the hard thing. Do you know why do we keep saying that we do the hard thing? Why do I keep saying that it is hard to be right? Is because of the temptations. Do you know how many times it is per day that you sit down and you're like, I just give up. I just give up. It's like you're trying to do what is right from your own point of view, by the way, and you don't even know if what you're doing is right or wrong. See, this is why it's hard. It's because you really don't know if it's right or wrong. You're following the scriptures. If you're of an Abrahamic religion, you're following the scriptures. You're following whatever the scripture is, whether it's the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible, and you do your damn best. Your damn best to try and do this one, and try to work hard and do exactly as the Quran or the Prophet says, like whether the prophets, whether the Quran, whether the, like I said, whatever the scripture is, you are trying your damnedest to do exactly what these guys are, and you never know. And you don't know if what you're doing is good or bad, if what you're doing is the right thing or the wrong thing. You have no clue. I mean, yeah, you think you're doing the right thing, and here's the thing with this is why I say it's hypocritical, because you think you're doing the right thing. You think that because you're following exactly what the scripture says, you're doing exactly what the scripture says, that you shall go to heaven. Because whether it's the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible, all three of them, you think that by following that one, you're going to go to heaven, and it's okay, and that's actually what we hope for. Like, all of us are trying to do that. But here's the thing is, are you really doing what is righteous? Are you really doing the right thing? Are you actually doing? Because something I need to tell you about Islam, one of the most famous parts is you have your religion and I have mine. AKA, by the way, which if you actually understood what that means, if you understand what this ayah means, lakum dinukum waliya din, if you kind of understand exactly what it is, you're gonna know a lot about the religion. The religion basically tells you have your religion and I have mine. Meaning, I will try to do my best. I will try to educate you. I will try to make you understanding. But at the end of the day, you have your belief system and your values, your belief, your culture, your methodology. You have that you have learned. This is everything that you've learned throughout your entire life. And I have the stuff that is my belief system, my words, my everything. And there is going to be times where it's going to hit each other. Like heck, the same thing with Islam. Islam is the same Quran, is the same Prophet, is the same Allah. But due to cultural differences, there are cultural differences in the situation. Sometimes, some of them are very strict, some of them are very lenient. And the strict people think that they are the righteous people and everyone else is just sucks, and the lenient people think that they're the righteous people and everyone else is wrong. And that's not the case. Both of them are right. Whether you decide to be strict, whether you decide to be lenient, whether you decide, as long as in the end, and here's what the religion says, this is what Islam says, and this is why it's hypocritical, because what Islam in the end says, what Islam truly is about. And when we say it's a very peaceful religion, because here's the thing is, it's all about, I leave you to do whatever you want to do, I leave to do whatever I want to do, as long as we do not infringe each other's freedom, and as long as we just take care of each other and actually do good. By the way, the definition of good here is helping humanity. It's basically making humans have a better life, whether that is climate controlling, taking care of the climate, taking care of a lot of things, all of that. Once you get done with all of that, it's gonna make a lot of sense. You're gonna be sitting there and go like, oh, we're really not that different. And it's just, again, this is the fascinating thing about it. Oh, hello, yeah, great. Sorry, there's like. But that's basically it. You gotta have to learn to do that, and you gotta have to learn how to take care of yourself, and you gotta have to learn how to hold that. And the reason why I say it's very hypocritical is because if it's by not doing that, by not trying to make life better for everyone, and by constantly trying to say and us versus them, you're not really doing anything. You're just making things worse, and you're making that division even worse. Yeah, you're trying to make life so much better. Sure, great. Try making life so much better. But that doesn't mean that you should make it worse for a person or a group of people. Anyways, so that's basically my entire conversation for today. Thank you for listening, and hopefully see you next time. Bye-bye.